Grief is not a riptide that one can comfortably swim alongside, nor a stagnant pool one can simply wade through. It is a relentless ocean, capriciously calm at one moment and furiously tempestuous the next. Those who navigate its waves know it as a deeply personal voyage, one that is solitary but universal in the emotions it churns up. To talk about grief, therefore, is to speak in a language that resonates within the soul of every bereaved individual, touching on the elemental experiences of love, loss, and ultimately, transformation. The journey through grief is as much about rediscovering one's bearings in the world as it is about honoring the memories of those lost. And in this endeavor, understanding the complexity and the universality of grief is indispensable. The emotional stages of grief. The notion of stages of grief, most famously outlined by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in her seminal work On Death and Dying, offers a framework to begin understanding the chaos of emotions which bereavement spawns. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, the so-called 5 stages, are not linear but rather a spectrum, through which one might oscillate back and forth over time. In this respect, grief behaves somewhat like an emotional roller coaster, where moments of peace can abruptly shift into despair. It is critical to recognize that these stages are not rigid checkpoints, but are indicative of the common responses people have to the pain of loss. This fluid movement between emotions speaks to the personalized nature of grief. No two journeys are exactly alike. Deconstructing these stages helps in normalizing the emotions felt during the mourning process and provides individuals with the language to articulate their experiences. With awareness comes a better capacity to manage and navigate these arduous waters. Cultural perspectives on death and mourning. Every culture has its customs, rituals, and beliefs that uniquely shape the experience and expression of grief. In Bali, the ngaben is not merely a cremation ceremony but a final act of purification for the deceased, aimed at freeing the soul for its upward journey. Conversely, the traditional Irish wake is a communal gathering that mixes remembrance with celebration, highlighting a deeply social approach to processing loss. Understanding these varied practices not only enriches our grasp of the human response to death, but also underscores the importance of cultural sensitivity in the context of globalized interactions. For instance, how grief is handled in a collectivist society can differ vastly from its management in an individualist society, reflecting the broader values about interdependence versus autonomy. This exploration invites us to acknowledge the plurality of grief experiences, urging a respectful engagement with differing mourning rituals and providing a broader lens through which we can perceive our own approaches to loss. Navigating daily life after the loss of a loved one can feel like an insurmountable task. Adjustments can range from learning to manage one's finances, if previously handled by the departed, to attending social events alone. Here lies the practical face of grappling with absence, which requires not just emotional but tangible strategies. Initial practical steps might include organizing personal and household affairs or establishing new routines. However, equally important is the need to maintain connections with others. Engaging in support groups or seeking therapy can provide not only a safety net, but also a constructive space to process grief. Moreover, cultivating new hobbies or revisiting old passions can act as therapeutic outlets, offering distractions as well as opportunities to forge new memories and meanings. These actions don't serve to replace what was lost, but to reframe the future with hope and purpose. Grief transforms. This is its most fundamental essence. While it begins as a profound disconnection prompted by loss, it has the capacity to evolve into a deeper connection with our own selves and the world around us. The journey through grief, harrowing as it might be, often engenders a renewed sense of empathy and a refined perspective on the fragility and preciousness of life. The waves of grief may never completely subside, and perhaps it is not in their nature to do so. Instead, they may lessen in intensity or become more navigable over time. This understanding paves the way for a compassionate self-relationship and an awareness that one is not merely surviving the loss, but growing through and with it. By recognizing grieving as an impactful, albeit unchosen transformation, we open a pathway toward healing. A path marked by resilience, reinvention, and sometimes a quiet resurgence of joy. In embracing grief, rather than resisting it, we honor our lost loved ones and, crucially, we honor ourselves in the ongoing journey of life and healing.